All right, and we are live. Let me know if you guys can hear me. Kevin, I see your comment. Lock in. Cool. Matthias, Raul, Atharva, Sandeep. Oh, yeah, let's go. Can you guys see the screen okay? I would love to hear where you guys are calling in from. Last week we had a couple people from the UK, Europe, US, Canada. Curious to see if we got any more this week. Canada. What part of Canada? East Coast, West Coast? London. I don't know if we had a London last time. Rhode Island. A lot from India. What time is it in India? Like 10 p.m.? Ontario, Canada. Bangladesh. That's cool. I think Bangladesh borders India, right? My geography is not the best. That's pretty cool. Indiana again. What's the culture like in India with going to bed? I have a lot of friends and they say everyone goes to bed super late there, like 3 a.m. I'm curious to see if that's true. Lexington, that's Kentucky, if I got that correct. We eat biryani until 3 a.m. Dude, I love biryani. Oh my gosh. There's a spot in Reno. It's called, shoot, if I can remember the name, Bawarchi, and they have pretty good biryani, but I bet it's nothing like the biryani you can get in India, like the authentic stuff. Yeah, 12:30 and it's 12:30 in Indiana, I think, East Coast time. Love it. All right, before we get started, I wanted to do the emoji battle again. So put in your best emoji. You can try to turn it into a story. You can try to combine different emojis to something unique. So ready, set, go. Let's see what you guys have. Hey Kartik, welcome. Vodapov, I don't know what that is. Mumbai. I know Mumbai, but I don't know Vodapov. Got a rocket. 3 minutes, I'm gonna pick my favorite. Let's see who wins this. Oh, what the? That's some like little, I don't know what that is. That's pretty cool. I've never seen that one before. We got a race car, we got penguins. I like the graph. I use that one a lot. That's an interesting hand. I'm guessing that's from Android or something because I've never seen that on Apple. We got a robot arm, a man, Wi-Fi connection, like cellular connection, race car. All right, I think I'm gonna have to go with this one. I think Mech, thank you A43. That I've never seen that before. I learned something new. If you would please put in the chat what that is, I'm very curious. All right, let's get started here. So thanks for joining, everyone. Just a quick summary. We're gonna go into Just a bit about me, interview story style, and then we're going to cover some common mistakes and how to fix them with interviewing. And then congratulations to Kirutiga. She won the mock interview session, so she's going to be joining as an interviewee in about 20 minutes. We'll do some live Q&A, and then I got a couple bonuses for you guys and some extra content. And let's start with that. So would love to connect with you guys outside of this and LinkedIn. So here's my Instagram QR code. This will take you to my main Instagram page. And then actually in the bio, I have a link that will take you to the PDF. I think most of you are following me on LinkedIn. So if you're not, would love to connect with you there. So go ahead and scan that code. And let me show you how to access the PDF. So on my LinkedIn bio or Instagram bio, if you click on the store, I have interview skills PDF here, and I'm gonna make this free for you guys because you're on the live stream. And I'll keep it free for the rest of the day today. All right, so that is free, so go check that out and download it for yourself. You can use it for future reference. Yep, made it free. All right, here's a little bit about me regarding interviewing. So I told quite a few of you guys on LinkedIn. During COVID, I applied for about 60 different roles. Ford, Tesla, Toyota. I was applying to a lot of different automakers and manufacturing companies. And I think I was declined for about 40 of them in a row. And when I put in the job application, I didn't even get an interview, which was really frustrating. And then I did land an internship at Tesla, or an interview at Tesla, and that was with what was called the MADE team. And this team basically is like an internal vendor for Tesla, and they manufacture and design equipment for different areas. So I actually didn't get this interview, and that was a bummer for sure. However, from the lessons I learned through people, the hiring manager actually referred me to a different team at Tesla. And then that interview I did land. It was battery module production support, an engineering internship. And then two unique things with Tesla is when you're applying for an internship, you actually only typically do 1 or 2 interviews, and that's a 30 to 45 minute interview with the engineers or the hiring manager. And when you're applying for full-time roles, and this is true for most large companies, you do what's called a panel presentation, where you display and you talk about a technical project that you've worked on in the past. So that was my interview story with Tesla. And then here's a fun picture. This is with 2 of my friends that I interned with, Matthew and Thomas. And if you do work at Tesla, they give you the opportunity to assist with delivering cars. So we drove to Rockland, California, and we helped one of the end of quarter pushes for delivering Tesla vehicles, which was a blast. I see your question. What is the full form of Made? So I don't want to give away too many specific details, but you can think of them as an internal vendor. Yeah, let me pull this up big for you guys. Is that better, Mech? All right, next I wanted to share the raffle winners for this past week. So Matthias, congratulations. You were one of the first to reply to the email I sent out last night. So you have won a 30-minute call with me this week to talk about anything you would like. And then congrats again to Kiratiga for the mock interview. And then Aryan as well. You have won a free 30-minute call to talk about whatever you would like. I think I'm talking with you later today, so I look forward to that. All right, so let's get into some of the common mistakes made with interviewing. So this is one of the most common mistakes that I see interviewees make. As you're interviewing, you're only focusing on answering the questions that the interviewer asks you. And then when they ask you if you have any questions, you ask the most generic questions that I hear dozens of times a week. So keep in mind the people that you're interviewing with at these large companies, these hiring managers and these recruiters are typically interviewing dozens of people every week. I think just this week alone, I interviewed about 15 people. So let's say I'm interviewing you and I ask you all the questions, you answer them, right? Let's say you did a good job. And then I ask you and I say, hey, like Steven, for example, what do you have any questions for me? And then typically what I'll hear is, hey, what's the culture like on the team? What does success look like in the first 90 days? What are skills I can begin to learn now to prepare for this role? These are not, don't get me wrong, these are not bad questions at all. However, I hear these dozens and dozens of times a week, and honestly, I get super bored answering them. My brain is just on autopilot, and I say, oh yeah, we like to work together as a team, we like to collaborate, we like to learn new things. What does success look like? Oh, it's taking initiative. Like these are not bad questions, but they're just like, you're asking the most generic questions that everyone asks. Do you guys kind of get what I'm saying here? Yeah, that's good. Don't just answer questions, staying engaged. That's good. A good question, Vikrant. Since you got rejected the first time, how did you get the interview the second time? No, honestly, I think I interviewed decently well, and I don't know if you guys saw my post the other day, but one of the hardest things as a manager is you might get 3 or 4 or more really good interview sessions with a candidate, and you might only have 1 or 2 headcount positions. So I interviewed really well, so the hiring manager just referred me to his friend. I didn't email or message. Okay, so you guys get those points. So before I go to how do you fix these, put in the chat, how do we think we make this better? How do you ask better questions, and how do you engage the hiring manager? Yeah, focusing on being authentic. But be more specific. How do I just be authentic? That's really hard to just do unless you have some actionable things. How do you engage the hiring manager, engineers? How are you more authentic? All right, so this solution is, I really believe it's asking questions that are not surface level and about the team. It's diving into how does the system work with this specific team and with this specific company. So here are some examples of questions that would get me thinking, like, oh, it would make me stop and pause. So one, when deadlines slip or quality issues show up, what behaviors are actually tolerated versus corrected on this team? I can guarantee you in the last year and a half of interviewing people, probably over 300, 400 at this point, I have never gotten a question this in depth or this specific when it comes to how the system or how our team works. This would make me stop and think for a second. It's really good. Yeah, this question ask about their experience and what they like with the company. I get that one all the time. People often say, "How do you like your job? What are you excited for?" And again, those aren't bad questions, but I'm just going to be answering on autopilot. So I honestly, I see what you're saying, but this one is not. I wouldn't say that's a good question, or I wouldn't say it wouldn't get the hiring manager thinking. Specific team related or product related questions. Yeah, I get those ones a lot. That's good. But I think if you can be more specific on how diving deeper into how the product may work under certain circumstances, not surface level questions. That one's better. How do I solve the most common problem on your team? That one is better. I still do get that one quite often. So here's another one. What mistakes have new hires made in this role that you wish someone had warned them about before? What I really like about this question is that think about it. When a hiring manager is hiring a new engineer, they're always thinking, like, how can I hire someone that's going to start adding value right away and not add any risks to the team? So think about it from the hiring manager's perspective. They want to reduce the risks and they want to increase as much value as possible. So asking really specific questions about how you can specifically reduce the mistakes that previous new hires have made is really, it'll start to get the manager thinking about previous new hires and great things they've done, and also like mistakes they've made, right? I hope those make sense. Yeah, recent challenges faced on a new product. That one's slightly better. I do get that one quite often. People will ask me, what are the problems you guys are facing today? Again, not a bad question, but I do get that one quite often. Okay, let's move on to the second question, or the second mistake. All right, common mistake number 2 is just answering like a candidate. So this is what again, this is not bad, but I'm interviewing potentially 12 to 24 people a week. If people just spit out numbers and information at me, like their resume, like I've already looked at your resume. I've seen I've seen the impacts that you've had. So if you're just gonna spew your resume at me during the interview, I'm gonna be on autopilot, and you're just gonna blend in with the rest of the interviewees, right? So I may ask you, hey, tell me more about this project. And you said, oh yeah, I led this and it improved efficiency by 15%. You could even use those good tips that I shared last week in the intern or in the resume live stream. You could literally spew the good some good resume bullet points. But again, if you're just spewing to me your resume, I'm not getting anything new, and it's not engaging for me. I would have to think about questions to ask you. We were blocked by other teams, so the timeline slipped. I designed a robot gripper frame out of 6061 T6. Like, you're just spewing, you're just giving me information. You're even giving me impacts. Again, this is not bad, but you're going to blend in with everyone else. Do you guys see the point that I'm making here? Great questions. I can get to some of those later. All right, so how do we fix this? How do we fix answering like a candidate, which I think 90% of people do? All right. I want you guys to start answering like you are the owner or you're leading the project. And that doesn't mean just giving me facts and information and impacts. It means specifically walking with me through the project, how you determine solutions based on certain risks you faced. For example, point number 1 is we improved efficiency by 15%, but it came with a trade-off. There was a higher short-term scrap risk. We accepted that risk because downtime would have been far more expensive for the company. Now you're putting something in my head to where, oh wow, this person was actually like engaged and they were evaluating risks and they determined a path forward based on, oh, downtime would have been more expensive. Yes, there was risks and downsides to taking the path that they just took, but it was a better choice than putting the line down. So they're actually sharing a story with me. They're not just spewing out their resume bullet points. Even if they're 10 out of 10 resume bullet points, this is actually a story. And that is one of the most impactful things you can do when it comes to interviewing, is engaging the hiring manager with stories, walking me through the decisions you made and why. Second bullet point, we were dependent on another team. I should have escalated earlier and rescoped the deliverable. This delay taught me how to protect the critical path next time. So just be honest and be yourself. Like, everyone in their role is going to make decisions based on certain risks and advantages, and sometimes we make mistakes. So if you can paint the entire picture for me and the hiring manager, it helps us understand who you are as a person versus just spewing out resume bullet points. Does that make sense? Yeah, take ownership. Because think about it, guys, if you were just doing one small part of the project you were on, and you were just designing this fixture or you were programming this code and you didn't understand the bigger picture, then it's going to be really hard for you to answer like this and share stories, because you were not understanding the why behind what you were doing, and you weren't involved in the cross-functional team communications or conversations to where you had to evaluate risks, you had to determine a path forward. And if you're designing stuff is awesome. So if you're, let's say you're a mechanical design engineer for equipment or for a product, if you can walk me through your design decisions and the certain risks and the certain solutions or wins, and how you weigh those two up with each other, because there's usually never a solution that has no downsides, right? So if you guys can kind of paint the entire picture of the why and the decisions made, you're going to stand out among all of the other interviewees. Cool. All right, next mistake, number 3. All right, I had a couple interviews this week where people tried to play it really safe. So what does playing it safe mean? It playing it safe means that the interviewee, obviously everyone really wants the role, but the way that they're talking, the way that they're answering is, if it's either they get the role or they fail completely. So maybe the interviewee says, whatever you give me, I'm going to do a great job, and I'm going to learn it, and I'm going to succeed. Yes, and that's exactly the kind of person that we want. But what does that show me, the interviewee? It shows that you're not really critically thinking about the role you're applying for. You're just trying to get anything that lands with you. And this is especially critical for full-time employees, because if it kind of shows me that you don't really know what you want, you're just trying to get any job that you can get. I'm extremely passionate and I always give 110%. Okay, that's awesome, and I value passion and I want that, but this is not giving me any meat, or it's not showing me who you are as a person and what you really want, right? So when you're interviewing, don't just try to say what you think the interviewer wants you to say. Speak from your heart, speak from your mind. I want to hear how you tick, right? And I think what's so powerful about this is, if you genuinely speak from your heart, then the interviewer will notice that, and then that's how the referrals happen. If you just shoot me a message on LinkedIn and say, "Hey, can you refer me?" that's not going to, like, I'm getting 300, 400, 500 messages a week saying that. I can't simply refer everybody. So how do we fix this? So yeah, just as I was saying, break the frame and be real, be yourself. So what are some examples of that? Hey, if I'm the interviewer or I'm the interviewee, hey, if this role needs someone who wants a rigid structure, I may not be the best fit. If it needs someone who can operate in an ambiguity and take heat when things break, that's where I do my best work. And what this is doing, and it's helping me understand who you are as a person, because if all I know you, if the things that I only know you for are your resume, and then how you can share your bullet points with me on your resume, I don't really, you're blending in with thousands, if not tens of thousands of other people. But if you can really be honest and share, hey, these are areas I thrive, these are areas I don't thrive in, and be honest, be authentic, speak from your heart, speak from what you know, share with me stories, that really helps me see if this is going to be a great fit for you and a great fit for us. And if it's not, that's okay. Like, it's our value doesn't come from our job or the role that we have. So if you don't get the role, but you interviewed honestly and genuinely with me and shared with me who you are as a person, that gives me so much more meat to take and say, okay, this person can fit really well with this team. Hey, Adam, I have this really good person that just interviewed with me. I don't think they're the best fit for my role, but I think they could really work well with your team. Does that make sense? Am I explaining this well? Yeah, anyone can share these things, but when you are genuinely being authentic about what you're good at and what you're not good at, and giving me specific stories, the interviewer can tell when they're being real. All right, one more example. I don't get excited about everything. I get obsessed with problems that really matter. When I stop caring, my performance drops, so I choose roles where the mission actually holds my attention. And it's really easy. It's really easy this is what I get a lot with being an employee at Tesla. I'll hear people just repeat back Tesla's mission statement, which that just shows me that you did a quick Google search and you know what Tesla's mission statement is, or whatever company's mission statement, which is good. But I want more than that, and I know maybe there's some hiring managers that will just take that information that you kind of repeat back. But if you could be genuinely authentic about why you connect with certain projects and missions, and things that you don't just share the things that you love, but also share the things you don't align with as a person, and just be authentic and be real. I want to hear who you are. I don't want to hear your resume repeated back to me in the interview, right? I get that a lot. And it's hard. It's really hard because you spend so much time curating a beautiful resume, which we went over last week. And even if you make the best resume and all you do is repeat back those points, it just doesn't give me the story of you. All right, any questions on these 3 mistakes? I'll do like one or two questions, and then we'll get into the mock interview. All right, here's the first question. Let's see, previous slide, 110. These were generic words that anyone can say. Yeah, totally. Anyone can say, I give 110%, which I want people that are going to be passionate and give 110%, but just saying that is not going to, everyone can say that, totally, 100%. Yeah, you're welcome. All right, last question before we go to the mock interview. So when discussing a project, should we focus on explaining the reasoning behind our engineering decisions and the impact those choices had? Or could have had if we're not taking that approach? Yeah, totally. That's exactly what I'm talking about with mistake number 2. If you guys can walk me through, maybe the solution you came up with kind of sucked. That's okay. But walk me through why you ended up going with that decision, and walk me through the consequences that the team or you would have run into if you didn't make that decision. That shows to me that you really understood not only the technical project you were working on, but the slightly larger view of how this impacts those around you and the customer. Yeah, perfect Danish. All right. Let's move to the mock interview. So before we start,
Hi, Dan.
Kirutiga, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Perfect. Yeah.
Am I pronouncing your name right?
It's actually pronounced Kritika. It's like the word critical without the L.
Okay,
So,
Kritika.
yes.
Kritika.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I know it's spelled a little different. Yeah.
Well,
Thanks a lot.
before we get started, I wanted to give you a minute or two to maybe share with everyone a little bit about you, maybe where you go to school or where you work.
Sure. So, hi everyone. My name is Kritika. I'm a recent graduate from UT Austin. So, I did my master's in material science and engineering, and then I went on to do a second master's in aerospace engineering from UT Austin. So, I graduated in May 2025. And since then, I did an industrial internship at Electra. And currently, I'm working as an engineering consultant for a medical startup company. So, like, like kind of all over the place. So, yeah, that's my background.
What was the what I've heard aerospace engineering in university is very fascinating and can be challenging. What would
Yeah.
you say was the favorite thing you learned in that program?
Um, Even though I was in aerospace engineering, my background research was still electrochemistry. So I come from a background of mechanical and electrochemical engineering. So coming in, taking courses like compressible flows and stuff were a little intimidating. But then I found my footing in like subjects like fluid mechanics and stuff like that, because like that we have in common in mechanical. So it was quite a bit of learning, but it was like really fun because like we had a lot of people from different backgrounds coming in, like people with like chemical engineering undergrad and people who are like aerospace undergrad. So like it was very interesting interacting with people of different background.
Awesome. And what's your last question before we do the mock interview? What's your favorite emoji if you had to pick one?
I was gonna pick the one which was like fish or something. Like I've never seen that before. I was
Oh, the
like, I
fish.
want to know what's that. Yeah.
All right, so just a
Yes.
couple notes before we do the mock interview. So I'm gonna be acting as the hiring manager for a let's say a manufacturing engineer
Hmm.
at a generic tech company,
Right.
and I'm gonna just ask kind of questions that I normally ask in an interview, just to hopefully show you guys what that looks like.
Yep. Sounds good.
All right, so what? Sorry, pronounce your name one more time for me. I don't want to butcher that again.
It's Kritika.
Kritika.
Yes. Yeah.
Hey, Kritika. Thank you so much for being willing to interview.
Yes. Thanks a lot for having me. I appreciate this opportunity.
So share a little bit about yourself in terms of what makes you come alive in like personally and in your work environment.
Okay. So, like as you know, I'm a mechanical engineer by training. So I started off with uh, doing my bachelor's in India, and then that's where I had this. I was introduced to electrochemistry, and I discovered that it's very interesting and it's very unique, or like different from what I've seen so far in mechanical. So that then like it led me to pursuing an internship where I did my bachelor's thesis in battery modeling. So that's where my passion for batteries and energies, like sustainable energy system began. So I worked primarily on the mathematical modeling aspect of it. So it was like a lot of like mathematical equations, doing console and MATLAB simulations and stuff like that. So I was very interested in it and learned quite a bit in that process. And so then I decided, okay, like I want to learn more about this and I want to know like batteries and the chemistry behind it pretty well. So I applied for grad school and I got into the material science and engineering program at UT Austin. So there I kind of expanded on doing my battery modeling, but with new chemistry. So earlier I worked just on lithium ion batteries, but later on I started developing protocols and algorithms for new battery chemistries that were developed in-house at UT Austin. So the Texas Material Institute is like one of the premier institutes which has like eminent scientists who have developed these technologies, and like we had Dr. John Goodenough who won the Nobel Prize for batteries. So like just being able to work with people like that was very encouraging, and I learned a lot. And through that process I actually discovered I like doing experiments more. So even though modeling was very interesting, I actually like working with my hands. I like seeing experiments, like doing experiments and seeing like science happen in real time, which kind of led me
So, quick
to.
question.
Mhm.
What? So, with all this experience that you have,
Yes.
what made you want to apply to this manufacturing engineer role for my team?
So, like as I said, I like working with my hands, and I started delving into more experimental work. So far, my background has only been in academia, and I noticed that while I'm able to, like develop and do all these processes in a lab scale, I like saw that like the true impact really lies in being able to do something at like a commercial scale. So that's where like like I have friends in like manufacturing engineering, and I hear that like every day they go in and they have like something to work on, and it's very exciting, and end of the day the impact is huge. So like while developing all these principles in lab scale is great, at some point the way it will reach the masses is when you employ all these techniques at a larger scale, at a commercial scale. And that's where the role of manufacturing engineering comes in, because it's not just building something isolated in a lab. It's something you're like developing a tangible product, or you're like part of a team which develops something that goes on to like being used by so many people, and it like benefits the society as a whole. So that's like that's something very rewarding. So that's why
So,
I love about this.
with your lab work, which project was most interesting you in the lab? Ideally,
I
one
would.
maybe that you've seen from start to finish.
Yes. So, great example of that would be my project while I was doing my master's in aerospace engineering. So, I was the primary grad student and the only grad student working on this project. So, basically, I led the development of this microfluidic device that I developed. So, the from the design, development, iteration, and like making sure that the product is like it delivers reproducible and repeatable results. Like everything was my responsibility. So like that taught me a lot of skills. Like I knew I was great at doing experiments, but like then I realized like, okay, maybe I'm not the best. Like there were a lot of learnings along the way. So to quickly kind of give you an overview of that project, the goal was to kind of develop a microfluidic cell in order to do electrochemical experiments on it. So we were trying to study the electrodeposition property and kind of extract like rare earth elements from a really dilute electrolyte. So that was the goal. And we ended up using magnetic fields to kind of enhance the electrodeposition of these trace elements. So for that, what I did was like we had like a setup in
So,
the
quick
lab with.
question with that. Getting those results, what would that help your team accomplish? Or what were you hoping it would accomplish?
So this was a DOA funded project. So they already had a setup which was not optimal. So the goal was to find like an optimal, like or like create an optimal device which will be like used to study these techniques, and also be like we wanted like optical images of these electrodeposits, like all these morphology studies. So the goal was to create a device which was compatible for all these categories. Sorry, did that answer your question?
Yeah, I'm trying to. Obviously, these terms I'm not the most familiar with,
Okay.
but if you were to like explain this to maybe a high schooler, what ultimately what would be the benefit to the college or the team in terms of the value you would provide for them or for a certain customer?
Okay, so the ultimate value would be that with this device, we will be able to study the impact of, like magnetic fields and its influence on electrodeposition. So with this device being like, if it is able to do reproducible, repeatable results, then we can claim that, okay, magnetic fields are actually really good at extracting these trace elements. It works through convection, and that we would be looking at scaling it up at like a pilot scale or something, where we have uh, like a dilute electrolyte, and we'll try to kind of simulate that experience by like extracting minerals. So this can be applied
So
to, let's
why do we want to extract it, minerals? Like, are there certain minerals we want to get for a certain reason, or?
Yes. So, as you know, lithium right now is being mined, and it's not a very sustainable way of recovering lithium. And lithium is used in
Mhm.
like batteries, and like it's like a hot commodity. So, like people are looking at ways to kind of extract it sustainably, so that we don't kind of deplete our like ores and resources like that. So, like with this
So I'm just gonna
technology
stop
being.
you there.
Mhm.
I th- so you did, I think you did mention lithium
Yes.
refinery and extraction in the beginning.
Yes.
I think what would have really helped me is the interviewer. So
Hmm.
obviously you know this project way better than I do and probably
Yeah.
ever will.
Yeah.
So when I think this is a common thing I see with interviewees,
Hmm.
and this is not a bash on you. This is just a general note I'm
Of
making.
course. Of course. Yeah.
So remember you're the expert and I'm the high school student.
Right.
So I think starting off, uh, trying to trying to start from a really high level at first.
Hmm.
So you can say, like when I asked about a project in the lab, you could have you to help me. You could have started off by saying, "Hey, this is a common problem that we're seeing around the world, specifically in the manufacturing industry.
Right.
The material lithium is extremely hard to, or the resources are getting limited, or the price is going up. So having a really, I think you did vaguely mention lithium refinery at the beginning,
Yes.
but I didn't have an ultimate understanding of what the problem was,
Hmm.
and then what that solution of like, okay, in big picture, our team is working on extracting uh, minerals like lithium, and here's how we did it,
Yeah.
and then going into the technical.
Okay.
And I know like you know this, your team all knows this, but
Yes. Yeah.
I'm clueless, right? So I don't really
That's
know.
true. Yeah. Yeah. That's a great point. Like I should start off with like a brief intro of like what it actually is, and before delving into
Yeah,
it. Yeah. Okay.
and I mean, this is something I get all the time.
Mhm.
Uh, Critica is people immediately just try to go into the technical, share it, which is good.
Yeah.
But if I don't have the bigger picture why you're
Right.
doing these things, why you
Yes.
didn't do these things,
Hmm.
then it kind of I'm while you're explaining the technical, I'm trying to piece into in my head,
Hmm.
okay, like what why are they doing this?
So why does
What's
it
the
matter?
impact?
Okay.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And I think the main reason this happens is the interviewees get a little bit nervous and they just try to, show off their impressive technical stuff.
Yeah.
So I see this all the time. So
Hmm.
I stopped you there just because I wanted to share with all the other people listening too.
Hmm.
Make sure you guys start from that. Even try to take it to the sixth grade level at first.
Okay.
I'll find most of the most impactful interviews are when, wow, this person took something like rocket science, something so complex, and they explained it to me to where my 10-year-old niece could understand. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's hard to do. That's
It
impressive.
is. It is. Yeah.
So for the sake of time, I'm just going to go to asking some questions that I would ask as a hiring manager.
Sure.
So here's a question that I'll often ask is, like, hey Critica, so when when you join our team, or if you join our team, where the environment that we're in is high volume manufacturing. So the goal of our team is to try to serve the operations team that is running this line, to keep the line running for longer, to keep the line running safer, and to increase the availability of the equipment and reduce scrap. So there's obviously a lot going on with this team. So from like a big picture view, I interview a lot of applicants who have never been in manufacturing before. So I'll say, hey, like I know you don't have a whole lot of experience with this type of manufacturing.
Right.
Walk with me if you join us this year. Walk with me. What are some high level steps you would take to start integrating yourself and start adding value to the cross functional teams when you get here?
Yep, that's a great question. So as you know, like I do have very limited background when it comes to the manufacturing environment. So like based on my experience, what I've seen is when it comes to the operations and the manufacturing line, usually safety is something, like especially when it comes to like a new pilot plant facility or something, like a lot of safety guidelines or something are not enforced at all areas or at all operations. So that's something that I will, like make a check and see, like okay, like are all equipments, like running, like are they placed at the right place, like are they positioned in the right way, like simple things like that, like that's where I would begin. And I think I would ask the team or like the operators and see like, okay, what are some bottlenecks that you're facing? Is there anything that is like kind of slowing down or delaying the process, like how can we, like improve the efficiency of the existing process.
So Kritika, I'm going to stop you there. So good. These are good things you're saying. Just some advice, and this is something people commonly do, is they try to dive into the more specific projects they can immediately start working on.
Right.
The question that I really asked was, how are you? The context was, hey, you've never been in this environment before.
Yes.
What are ways that you can start adding value? So what I would have liked to, everything you said was good, but I think what I also would have liked to hear is, hey, I'm going to come in not knowing too much about this field. It's like, imagine I showed up to your lab. I would have no clue what is going on, at least to the level of extent you all do.
Yeah.
So I think that something I like to see as the hiring manager is seeking to understand. So talking about, hey, I want to spend time with, I'm going to be spending time on the different stations and even running, after learning how the station works, even working with the operator and running that station. I'm going to ask different team members and other cross-functional engineers what they're working on and how I can help. And again, I think you were starting to touch on that.
Yeah.
But that's something, as a hiring manager, that's something I really try to look for, is someone that's going to be not just the technical expert on what they're doing, but also have a larger picture view on, I want to understand how the operation's working. What's the next 6 months? Are we ramping up production? What are the biggest issues we're facing? Are there a lot of safety concerns? Are there quality issues? Again, this is not a correction. This was just giving some more value. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. No, that is very helpful. Sorry, I'm just
I'm gonna
writing
ask,
down some notes. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, Vikrant, you asked a question here. Most candidates go on and on while answering the questions. What do you suggest to keep it concise and short? How long your answer should be? Yeah, it's hard to say a specific number. So let's say someone asks me, hey Dan, walk me through a technical project you did. on the manufacturing line to help the team or to help the product, or walk me through one of your most exciting projects you've worked on. So this is the kind of length and I would expect. Again, it's not a time base, it's just touching on the key parts of information. So number one, problem. So I'm going to come up with a generic problem here. So the example will be, hey, we're building diesel motors, and on station number 10, we actually fill the diesel motor with a fluid, like a cooling fluid. And the problem was, when I came in, was this was a manual process, and we had no way to control how much fluid went into the diesel engine. So as with this concern and risk of underfilling or overfilling, I took the initiative and I evaluated with the quality team, with the production team, to implement an autofill station, so equipment process controls. So what I did is I identified 5 different flow meters. 3 of them I ruled out because they were not falling within our reliability requirements for reporting volume accuracy. So I was left with 2. The one had greater accuracy. It was a 99.87% repeatable, but the cost was about 10 times more than the second option, which was only about a 0.05% less repeatable values for the fluid fill volume. So we decided to go with this option, and we had 2 months to implement this solution, and we were able to get it done in a month and a half. And the result was we now we report the data directly to our MES system of how much fluid went into these engines. So again, I did not rehearse that, I didn't practice it, but I just gave you the key pieces of information that the hiring manager would need to know about why they did this project, what they did. And I could have listed off some tools like, hey, I used Allen Bradley PLC, I added an analog and added analog and digital IOs to the PLC for inputs and outputs for this device. So I could have gone on a bit on that, but really you want to try to keep it concise and then let the hiring manager ask about specific technical details. So I hope that answers your question, Vikrant. Awesome. Kritika, I'm going to ask you one more question.
Sure, of course.
So when it comes to designing equipment, so we're talking about coming up with certain constraints, using tools like CAD software, and reaching out to vendors to fabricate your equipment. When you're designing, let's say it's a manual tool for an operator, what are the most important constraints and key pieces of, like, certain things you would want to focus on with this design, knowing that it's going to be a manual tool for an operator? What are certain things you take into account and why?
Okay, what I can immediately think of is the tolerance limits. So like some devices or tools can have variability of like plus or minus 1 millimeter or something, but just understand what's the limit of tolerance that is okay for the part to be manufactured, and kind of account that into the CAD drawing. Other than that, I think just making sure that the design is easily manufacturable, and that the part is kind of easy to reproduce, and doesn't have really difficult things which can come out faulty after each trial or something. So just looking out for those things is something that I would do. So just following DFM principles, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm going to ask a more specific question.
Yes.
When you're designing a fixture, let's say for the operator, who is the ultimate customer of your fixture that you're designing?
It would be the person who would be using the tool or the fixture. So it would be the operator in that case. Yeah.
Does the operator ultimately care about tolerances?
They do not. It's like they only care about the outcome and that it's perfect and it serves the purpose. That's, like that's basically it. Yeah.
And this is what you said was good before. I just want to bring up a point. That's why I
Sure.
asked that question.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course. Yeah.
So often people start talking about GD&T tolerancing before they go to the why behind it.
Yeah.
So um, what I like to see when I ask about mechanical equipment design, especially when it comes to like manual equipment for this
Mhm.
specific question,
Yeah.
is I think I see some comments in the chat here. So let's say I'm the operator. I could be I could be uh, I could be 4'5" and I could be um, slightly on the older side, right? So
Right.
ultimately designing the fixture to where any type of person could use it safely and
Mhm.
easily. And those constraints of because providing value to that customer,
Yeah.
if for example, let's say the lift assist has a spring balancer and it needs to slide up and down, okay, that would require a certain slip fit tolerance to where it won't rock around, but
Yeah.
it'll slide smoothly up and down.
Yeah.
So giving maybe some specific reasons why, and then going into how you did the tolerancing and your drawings to accomplish that goal.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, safety first. I saw that in the comments.
Yeah.
Ease of use for the operator. Um, Oftentimes, as the operator at the station, we want to have everything accessible for him. So designing it to where the operator wants to use the tool.
Right.
Because I've seen a lot of situations where the person designs a product, but the operator's like, I never really needed that in the first place, so he doesn't
Yeah.
even use it.
Yeah.
So understanding that why behind what you're doing is really good.
Right.
Um, awesome, Kritika. Well, thank
Cool.
you.
Yes.
Thank you for joining in for this mock interview. Great job.
Yes. Thanks a lot. Thank you for this opportunity. I do appreciate it a lot. Yeah. That was
I learned
great feedback. Yeah. Yeah.
I learned a lot about the lithium
Yes.
lab projects you were working on.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah. Of course. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Hope to stay connected and yeah. See you.
Yes. All right, let's go into a little bit of Q&A before we end it up. Again, Kritika, great job. Guys, let's give a round of applause for her. And, oh yeah, I forgot to mention, Kritika, if you would like to do a one-on-one resume review, talk about career interviewing advice with me, you also get a free one-on-one session this week. So shoot me a message on LinkedIn and we can set up that time. Yeah, great job, Kritika. Thanks for hopping on. All right, last, I'm going to answer 2 or 3 questions here. Yeah, ease of use. Yeah, lifespan. Totally. Totally. Ergonomics. Ergonomics are one of the biggest, in manufacturing in general, ergonomics are one of the biggest issues and difficulties that we come across. So designing to be easy to use and safe is so, so important. Hey, Shiva. Yeah, so Shiva used to be one of my coworkers. He now works at Figure Robotics. Great to see you on here, Shiva. All right, here's a question. What if the interviewer doesn't even ask you questions about yourself and goes straight to technical, or you don't even see their face? Yet, to be honest, Kevin, as when I'm at work, I'm usually on the line. I'm busy doing stuff. I don't turn on my camera a lot of the time because I don't want the interviewee to see. Usually I'm near like our equipment, so I don't want to just show off our equipment on the video, so I often don't even have my video on. So just this is a great piece of advice that I'd recommend. Practice all your projects you've done on your resume that you're going to show off. Practice sharing the story of each project, why you're doing it, the different problems you ran into and decisions you had to make, weighing the risks, and then sharing the impact and solution that it had. If you can practice the story and walking the interviewee or the interviewer through that, that's going to set you apart big time. And yeah, if the interviewer just goes into the technical, then obviously, again, this goes back to the people pleasing thing here, playing it safe. So oftentimes we just try to please the interviewer, but feel free to take it slightly off script. They might ask you about the technical, and then you can say, you could stop him and say, "Oh yeah, I would love to share with you about why I designed the ladder logic this way, or why I did these certain tolerances with, or why I chose these specific materials. But before I do that, I really want to show you the big picture about this project and why we needed to do it. And this will help you understand why I made the decisions I did." Does that make sense? Like, don't just spit out the information the interview is asking you, because then it just becomes this generic interview that I get so many times, or that hiring managers get. If you can stand up for yourself and share authentically about your projects, why you did things, sharing the risks, sharing your decisions and why, and then getting into the technical, it's painting a picture in the interviewer's head. So really, I think really focusing on that, even if they just start asking you technical questions, feel free to go a bit off script and yeah, break the frame. That's what I say. Just break the frame. And if you don't get it, then maybe maybe that's not the right team for you. Like, it's not just about you winning or losing, it's about them winning or losing. It's a two-way street. So stand up for yourself and share honestly. Don't just try to get the role to get the role. Awesome. Let me do one more question. Would you recommend the interviewee to go to screen share to show the projects? Actually, yeah. One story, I interviewed someone a few weeks ago, and the interview went pretty well. No, it was probably in the top 30% of interviews. And I was gonna hang up and say thanks for your time, but he stopped me and was like, "Hey Dan, I think it would be really impactful for me to show you some of my portfolio projects." So he actually told me to stay on for 2 more minutes to show me some specific projects on his portfolio and what he did and how he took ownership of this project. And this was kind of breaking the frame. He could have just said, "Oh yeah, thanks for your time," and left. Which I'm not saying for all of you to do this, but he felt the urge and he felt the desire to share some projects with me. So yeah, totally. Like, you guys know your skill sets the best. Like Kritika, she knows about her lab project with lithium and extracting elements way better than me. So if she can capture my attention a bit more by trying to explain more and show me pictures or share with me the why, then oh my gosh, like, yeah, do that. Totally. Don't, like, this is your interview too. This isn't like, don't let the hiring manager just dictate the whole interview without you having a say. Awesome. Well, we're over time. Thank you guys so much for joining. Let me know if you want the PDF. I'll send it over to you for free. And have a great rest of your weekend.